City volunteers cared for the flood-affected residents after pouring rain fell in southern Taiwan overnight. TIMA members conduct free medical home visits for the residents in Shanzhi near Taipei. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. In southern Taiwan, pouring rain fell in Tainan overnight, causing many places in Rende District to be flooded. To help the affected residents, Tzu Chi volunteers deliver hot meals and provided love and warmth to them. In southern Taiwan, this wave of heavy rainfall caused many low-lying areas near the Tainan section of the highway to be flooded. The nearby Sanlian River burst over its banks, causing the Taipei industrial zone next to the highway to be soaked in water. Originally, the water was up to one's waist. In the afternoon, the water gradually receded, so the affected families mobilized to clean the environment.
We are just going to clean it, but there's water all over my home. The refrigerator is soaked in water, and it is out of work.
The pouring rain fell in Tainan overnight, causing more than 1,000 households in Rende District to be flooded. 2 communities of the East District were also affected. The National Army was dispatched to help distribute aid supplies, so as to help the affected residents get back on their feet as soon as possible. The volunteers wear rain boots and walk through the flooded area. It's because one of their Tzu Chi families has also been affected. The Taipei industrial zone was severely flooded, and this was no exception for Hongtianzhu's factory.
The water came from below, and the water outside was up to my waist. It is a low-lying area. When you try to send lunch boxes to us, I said, do not come in.
As a Tzu Chi volunteer, Hongtianzhu is concerned about other Dharma families who were also affected by the disaster. He goes to the lowest lying area of the industrial zone along with other volunteers to care for them.
I worried about each one of them because this area is often flooded.
The warmth they have received from their Tzu Chi family drives away the ruthlessness of the flooding.
Since there are people coming to care for us, I feel very warm. I'm very grateful.
I want to cheer them up because they have to work hard to clean the flooded water.
By noon, the volunteers have delivered hot meals to police officers and Dharma families. Tzu Chi care recipients Mrs. Liao, who needs to undergo dialysis, is trapped at home due to flooding. Therefore, the volunteers borrow a raft to bring her out. Mrs. Liao arrives at the dialysis center successfully. With the help and support of volunteers, she no longer feels hopeless. After torrential rain affected southern Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers also went to Qishan and Tianliao in Kaohsiung to care for local residents.
Hearing that Tzu Chi volunteers are here, Grandma Lin is smiling brightly. Her husband points to the watermark on the wall, indicating how deep the flood was in his house this morning. This is the lowest lying area in Tianliao, Kaohsiung. It is flooded whenever it rains, so the residents had to evacuate immediately during the storm.
At around 8 o'clock, it was 120 centimeters deep.
When it was raining in Tianliao, I came here at once to see how deep the flood was.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for evaluating our condition. It makes us feel delighted.
After the merciless storm, Tzu Chi volunteers go to affected communities to help the residents and bring them spiritual support.
It's the rainy season in Myanmar. Heavy rainfall caused many places to be flooded. Local Tzu Chi volunteers have assessed the damages and begun their distribution for the affected residents. Since many residents in Bago have been evacuated from their flooded homes and they can only stay at a nearby temple, therefore the volunteers return to the disaster areas to conduct an aid distribution. It continues to rain when Yangon Tzu Chi volunteers are on their way to Bago. Many residential houses are still soaked in water, and the residents who have been evacuated can only stay at a nearby temple. The temple is spacious, but the affected residents have little privacy, as they can only sleep on the ground. Moreover, the power supply is not available, so they can only light candles, increasing the risk of fire. Worried about food crisis, the volunteers assessed damages on August 9th. Later, they purchased supplies to prepare for an aid distribution. On this day, nearly 1,000 affected families have received help.
My home is still soaked in water now, and I cannot see anything at all. Yesterday, I did not eat all day. I feel much better after receiving the supplies.
The gift that the volunteers have brought are emergency monetary aid, rice, cooking oil, and daily supplies. To the residents, all of these can temporarily overcome their current difficulties in life.
Everything you provide is what we need. Now the cash can also make up some of our losses.
At this time's aid distribution, a local Taiwanese businessman also joins the volunteers to help.
Whether we are in Taiwan or in other countries, we seldom witness the floods. That's why we think people here really need help.
After receiving supplies, the affected residents finally show smiles on their faces. On their way to rebuild their homes, the volunteers will continue to accompany them in the days to come. In the aftermath of Typhoon Margaret, Tzu Chi built the Shanling Great Love Village, which accommodates more than 600 households. In order to help the affected residents quickly settle down, including those who have different religions, Tzu Chi built 2 churches in the village. Among those who have received help is Zheng Yinlan. She used to live in a remote area, but thanks to Tzu Chi's help, she moved with her family to the village. Touched by Tzu Chi's volunteers' dedication, she has been inspired to turn from a receiver to a giver.
In 88 days, something like a miracle happened, as 2 churches were built within Sanding's Great Love Village so that people of all faith can pray and worship.
期待说，这里的住进来的都是这个人品典范哈，我们真正的台湾原住民哈，要扶上了地球国际的平台起来。
Master Zheng Yan made this statement near a crucifix, showing her compassion for different religions.
Until today, we have to really thank Tzu Chi for building this church for us. They responded to our request for a church in Nanshalu. Tzu Chi has even gone to show us pictures of what type of church will be built. At that time, we have to express our thanks because Tzu Chi itself is Buddhist, and yet they are still inspired to help the indigenous community, which is largely Christian.
I think the master does not discriminate between different religions or races. They are all her children.
After 10 years, many of these households continue to work outside, but when it comes time to worship, everyone is in attendance. Wu Xiuzhen, a 33-year-old member of the Bunong tribe, moved in from Taoyuan in the same year. This 60 square meter 3-bedroom house is where nearly a dozen people live.
When it first started, my heart didn't really feel like home. But day after day, we have lived here for 10 years, and we really like the place now.
Her and her husband actually met and married in the Great Love Village, where they currently have 4 children.
It doesn't matter how much time has passed, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to care us. Even though we have been here so long, they still care for us no matter what.
Zheng Yinglan, who once lived deep in the mountains, will never forget the experience of the typhoon.
At that time, the typhoon brought such water and the road was smashed and ruined, and over there it was hollowed out.
The home of their ancestors was ruined, and there was no water and electricity at the time, with the whole family trapped for a week.
The governments did not come here because we are a sparsely populated area. Tzu Chi volunteers came and didn't know where to park because the road was broken, as some crossed the mountain to make contact with us.
Unable to live in their home, this family moved into the Sanlingguila village, but their work is still in the mountains, as they tend to beekeeping every day. The income for this whole family was finally stabilized, allowing Zheng Yinglan to change from a care recipient to a Tzu Chi volunteer.
今天礼拜四有疏活站，老人的乐龄课。
吕伯河哈，这个距离哈差不多2安呢。
哦，来啊，够高诶。
那出来啊。
好，看到实际人迄阵来甲咱帮助的时阵。
Seeing Tzu Chi volunteers helping people during this heavy rain without any regrets is what has inspired me to become a volunteer. I wanted to see how to help others, and I become happy.
来付出，才会当得到快乐。
叫我会较旺声啦。
Emerging from the pain of this disaster, she has filled this void with love and pledges to continue following the Dharma path set forth by Tzu Chi.
Staying in Taiwan, TIMA members went to Shanzhi in New Taipei City to provide free medical services. The members divided into 6 teams to visit the residents in need. Although it's a difficult trip to get to the patients' homes, the medical professionals think it is their duty to safeguard the health of the residents.
3次往诊其实对我们医生来说是蛮惊险的，因为每次都要走这种山路，志工都跟着我们一起爬山涉水。
TIMA members must go uphill or downhill to reach patients' homes.
If we can come out to patients' homes, we can actually see the true conditions at their homes. Then if we can help them, we will.
The doctor applies acupuncture to ease his discomfort.
Now it doesn't hurt anymore. Otherwise, I had to move like this very slowly. Now I can walk like a normal person.
In this family, the elderly mother is sick seriously, and the father has to look after 3 mentally challenged children. There are many solitary seniors in Shanzhi, and the TIMA members are concerned about them.
You are the only one in this family, so we were concerned about you when the typhoon came. You can think about it. It's all for you, because you are almost 80 years old.
In this family, the divorced daughter returned here with her children to live with her mother. The volunteers came with milk powder and diapers to reduce their burden.
We realized that she probably doesn't have any job, so we brought some diapers and milk powder, so her children can use them. We will do our best to help her and her children.
The husband and the wife brought their son to the free clinics.
When we visit patients, it's like visiting old friends. We go regularly to care about his physical, psychological, and family conditions.
TIMA members and the volunteers come to this remote town because they see these poor and ill residents as their old friends. In Malaysia, there is a recycling volunteer who has been practicing recycling concept in daily life. Since he learned about environmental protection principles from Tzu Chi volunteers, he has been using reusable utensils and bringing his own shopping bags. He remarked that it is important to promote environmental protection, as everyone's efforts are needed to save the earth.
啊，佢搞綁咗佢先。來啊，10粒。自卑這東西啊，應該是4、5年前吧，開始接觸了瓷器之後了。其實那時候當初只是知道這些資源是可以再循環的，但是不知道哪裡可以擺放這些。
Back then, I knew these items can be recycled, but I did not know where I could place the recyclables. Later, a Tzu Chi brother told me about a recycling station at Lumbakuta. After listening to Tzu Chi volunteer sharing, I learned about recycling concepts. Plastic bags are made from petroleum. It takes several millions of years for petroleum to form. However, during just 100 years, humans might extract so much petroleum that there is very little resources left. By cutting down use of plastics, we can conserve resources.
用这一个环保餐具，把这些湿的食物残渣，就比如说蔬菜啦、果皮之类呢，会分别处理。
When packing food, we use reusable utensils. We separate the wet food waste, such as vegetables and fruit peel. We also need to process the dry garbage. We need to throw away garbage that cannot be recycled. It's been here for more than 10 days. Therefore, as we sort the recyclables, we can reduce the amount of garbage.
如果当我们做分类的时候，我们丢弃的垃圾其实是可以减少再减少的。
At home, we don't need to sort the recyclables into many categories. Basically, we just divide them into 2 categories. One is paper, the other is non-paper.
我这一面没有使用到的话，这样子我就会收起来，拿来写东西了。这样子，那些信封都会拿去环保站那边回收。这种就要批拉得长吗？拉得长啊，可以回收。
Recycling is not done by one person. Everyone has to do it. If you want everyone to do recycling, then you have to promote environmental protection. If people can cherish resources, the earth can be safe and humans can be safe.
Tzu Chis from Taiwan traveled to Chiang Mai, Thailand for cultural exchanges. In addition to providing volunteer services, they also went to different communities to promote environmental protection.
Despite language barriers, these Tzu Chis from Taiwan take to the streets to promote environmental protection.
These Tzu Chis were very brave. Although it rained and they didn't know anyone on the streets, they still step up to the passerby to promote environmental protection. They never did it before. I hope they could obtain hands-on experiences.
This is Bampam, where the Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School is located. Tzu Chis from Taiwan use their summer break traveling to northern Thailand for cultural exchanges. This includes promoting environmental protection in the village.
We'll tell them why we shouldn't use disposable items and what categories the recyclables can be sorted. If one more person is doing recycling, there will be more love for our planet and the environment will become cleaner.
People in the stores were very patient in listening to our explanation, and they were also willing to share it with other people. It made us feel what we did was very meaningful.
At the parent-child event, Tzu Chis also share with the villagers why it is important to reduce carbon emissions.
Doing recycling is something good for saving our planet, so I think our villagers will keep on doing it.
The village chief leads the villagers to do recycling in their community, inspiring more people to protect the earth together.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Shenzhen of China have put on a musical adaptation with the theme of filial piety for the 10th year. Members of the audience remarked that they have been deeply touched by the performance. Meanwhile, the onstage volunteers also practice filial piety in their daily lives.
The musical adaptation symbolically presents a mother suffering during pregnancy. The children emphasize the importance of filial piety through a song and kneeling lamp. Tzu Chi's musical adaptation in Shenzhen is impressive. Lan Hongjun, who has been the director of the performances for 10 years, recalls the past.
Back in 2009, we held many parents-child classes. Back then, the participants presented the Sutra of Profound Gratitude toward parents in different communities. So we presented the musical adaptation of Sutra of Profound Gratitude toward parents. For the past 10 years, the performance has been going on.
The family of 3 generations practice filial piety in their daily lives.
After joining Tzu Chi, I accompanied my parents and also realized that in Tzu Chi, I can also give of myself, like the other volunteers. Therefore, for the past 8 years, I hold a firm resolve to walk the Tzu Chi's path.
A professional play actress, Lu Shichu, has been deeply touched by the sutra adaptation.
Now I still feel deeply touched. This feeling made me think, I think they've passed on the culture of filial piety through a performance. I think it is phenomenal.
Lu Shichu's husband, Wang Jiayang, is also a professional musician. He thinks highly of the performance.
This is not an easy musical adaptation. I think it is an impressive state.
For young volunteer Song Qingci, being filial is her duty in life.
I help my parents do household chores. When they feel tired, I give them massages.
The best performance is to practice the principles of filial piety in daily life. In the 10th year of Tzu Chi's performance in Shenzhen, more audiences have been deeply touched.
观此一句，不许此行。
Dalian Tzu Chi volunteers have long been caring for low-income families. Their love and care for the needy not only extends to Dalian, but also to Wafangdian City. This time they held a gathering for all the care recipients. Let's take a look. Dalian Tzu Chi volunteers organized a gathering for care recipients. To provide more convenience for the low-income families, the volunteers have chosen the venue in Wafangdian City. Many local entrepreneurs also volunteer to help.
I also grew up in the countryside. There were some people who lived a very difficult life, especially some children and seniors.
To help the care recipients get to know each other, the volunteers have prepared some games for the children, drawing in their participation.
Through this activity, the children have been cared for both physically and mentally. Tzu Chi not only provides financial assistance and supplies, they also care for the children's inner hearts. I should learn from the Tzu Chi family.
I can feel that the power that Tzu Chi has spread is greater and greater. When I have the ability in the future, I will also help other people in need.
The Tzu Chi care recipients has made a wish to help others in the future. This will spark the ripples of love throughout the countryside. A charity organization collaborated with Tzu Chi to hold a special event for the seniors at the Hualien Jinsi Hall. Let's join the participants to enjoy the lively atmosphere. That's all the time we have for today. Goodbye.